Good morning and welcome to this exciting day to talk about businesses. In Business 360 today, we'll look at the key features, one of it being that shareholders are lamenting. A top story from the South Korea's Hyundai Motor and Kia are recorded from an issue with an electrical component in the transmission oil pump, which could overheat until they are inspected. This is the latest in a series of fire. There had been 6 reports of thermal incidents, but no crash. Adidas generated millions from its first drop of Yeezy trainers, reported sales of 400 million euros from the shoes between April and June this year. Comment on social media. It had talking points around there. In the US. On August 1st, credit rating agency Fitch downgraded the United States at their second highest tier, at the highest rating. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called Fitch's
decision, and I believe it is entirely unwarranted, including those related to past legislation to resolve the debt limit as well. Fiscal responsibility is a priority for President Biden and me. Earlier this year, his budget would also improve the fiscal outlook by reducing the deficit by $2 billion. Modernization project, launched this time last year, has the resources it needs to enforce against. At the end of the day, Fitch's decision does not change.
Points. The United States Agency for International Development that have temporarily halted Ukraine's food exports to African states. According to her, Russia's decision to withdraw the impact of this food price hike would be more felt in developing countries that will import the Nigerian exchange to the Debt Management Office on its platform. The N32, according to the Debt Management Office, the subs from investors with a subscription amount offered and 130 billion naira was alleged displeasure as GlaxoSmithKline GSK Consumer Nigeria signed by the company's Secretary for Marketing and Distribution of Consumer Healthcare and Pharmaceutical Products of its prescription medicine and vaccines through its Nigeria Petroleum Company Limited on Thursday announced its partnership with NIP CNG, popularly since the removal of subsidy premium motor NMPCL Malakari said PMS subsidy removal. It would be a good time to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at global economic indices all around. Economic standings all across the world, beginning with economic calendar. Expected data releases for today, Friday, August 4th, 2020, as at 1:30 p.m. rather. Unemployment in Canada to remain at 5.4%, but expectations are high, and investors are looking at the opportunity. Standings was at 3.6%, and the forecast remains 3.6%. And the forecast indicates a drop to 190,000. 3 p.m. today, the IV PMI in Canada is expected to be X. Reignite inflation. Well, Dan Deming.
As the markets work their way through the cyclical nature of the commodity pricing structure, one thing to consider moving into their pre-COVID levels. Additionally, the global tensions that were to some degree a byproduct of the world coming to a halt, the most important part of economic growth, which is price stability. The global economic structure is coming off some of the highest inflation levels in more than 40. However, what also needs to be considered is that headline inflation data measures the rate of change. As we move into the fall, this type of volatility can create upside pressures on food prices, transportation costs, in a log.
Now to the food prices. Let's talk about the world. 3 months. Well, it's been that conversation in and around 9 in July 2023 from an upwardly revised 122.4 in June, which was the lowest since April 20. Higher world quotations across sunflower, palm, soy, and rapeseed oils. On the other hand, sugar costs improved rains, benefiting soil moisture conditions across most growing areas in India. Cocoa's grain prices. Dairy costs declined 0.4%, a 7th straight month of declines, led by lower quotations of skim milk and muted interest in import demand in the months ahead due to market uncertainties over the future directions of prices. Meat prices also fell 0.3%, led by bovine. According to the FAO charts, by October 2022, World Food Price Index 2023, also there was a slowdown, but afterwards an upward movement to 127.7. World Food Price went up slightly to 123.9 index level. Basis points to 5.25% during its August meeting, marking a 14th consecutive increase. In a new development, the bank warned that the borrowing conditions may remain tight for a prolonged period.
We have said something similar in the last week or so, actually, which means that we do see policy acting to bring inflation down. It's having the effect that we will now. So that gives us a sort of basis for now saying what's going to happen here on. And what we really see inflation come down rapidly, but a lot of that is the unwinding of things, which obviously where policy is really doing the work. And we're going to have to see policy stay restrictive. Now, the question.
In Egypt, the Central Bank of Egypt raised its key overnight deposit in its August 2023 meeting in a surprise move, as the market expected no change. The decision of policy rate will depend on the function of forecasted inflation rather than prevailing inflation rates. The annual inflation rates continue to be affected 2.7% in May 2023. Good time to talk about the commodity markets. I'm beginning with the energy market, underpinned by Saudi Arabia and Russia's announcement that they would extend voluntary supply cuts through next month, while Russia said it will also reduce its oil exports by 300,000 barrels per day in September. With policy of limiting supply in 2024. On the demand side, meanwhile, concerns about a subdued recovery in China with the energy market and afterwards the metal and agricultural market. The energy market this morning. The energy market this morning has shown some positivity for U.S. crude oil standing 8 point this morning, a 0.14% appreciation for Brent price, which is Nigerian natural gas, gasoline derivative of this crude, heating oil, a little here, a little there. Gold have shown some negativity this morning. Silver also dropping slightly this morning. Copper a slight drop this morning, but the volatility has been that of concern. No volatility still. The agricultural market. The agricultural outlook, especially for soybeans, has given $85 per bushel is the price of soybeans. Wheat price is 2.85% appreciation for wheat. Lumber is downward by 3.5 points downward this morning. Now to the foreign exchange market. Bitcoin rises jumped almost 2.5%. Where do cryptocurrencies fit into this equation? Jim Lorio gives outlook on this. Let's have insight by Jim Lorio.
Deficits accumulated in recent years. Now, this action mirrors the move of the S&P Global Ratings Agency, which downgraded the debt back in 2011 and has never moved back the rating. Now, received a downgrade. The eventual market move was a flow of money into the dollar and into U.S. Treasuries. Now, the initial move on it once was due to expected fiscal deterioration in coming years. In other words, they are broad market volatility.
That's Jim Lorio giving outlook on the crypto market amid all the concerns with the Fitch rating. Let's move up in the early morning trades for Bitcoin. Bitcoin prices $29,200. Market is moving fast, but the volatility level is intensive. A 96 points drop for Bitcoin this morning, a negative 0.31% decline. $1,836 is the price of one Ether. Let's also get to the fiat currency, talk about the level of 1.09 points. The struggle continues, a little back and forth there, but no significant A. But the struggle continues in the market, a negative 0.07% decline. The Aussie is battling slight upward movement, 0.14% appreciation. Now to Naira. The US dollar against the Naira, 7 points over the US dollar. Current price is 770 Naira to the US dollar. Many are wondering what the effect. 8.97 points over the euro and 18 points over the pound. And yesterday's market, current price market this morning, well, it's still a decline for Naira in the black market, pushing to 889 Naira to $1 at a buying rate, and selling rate 880 Naira to $1. Naira to a pound. The euro to Naira also has shown some level of progression for the euro. It's 962 Naira to 1 in the market. And quickly, let's move to the global stock market and see what the standings are in the global stocks as we're set to draw a curtain in today's edition. Beginning with Asian stocks, as Asian stocks are mixed, treasury yields continuing to pressure equities. Shares in Australia and Japan decline, laid to the downside by technology to support the economy lifted shares in Hong Kong and mainland China. It's been mixed fortune in the Asian market, and most of the stock markets are improving after yesterday's decline. But here we draw the curtain into